right, 3, 2, 1. So now I got everything synced up, and we're going to go live in 3, 2, 1. Greetings, everybody out there in the virtual world. Oh, God, I fucked that up. Well, we're one and done take, so that's just the way it works. We're sitting here with Jody and Joan Nunley, order members from the Carolinas, out here visiting Southern California for a paintball event. We were going to try and get a motorcycle right in. Well, I fucked that up because I didn't fix my other motorcycle. But we figured it out in time to keep them from getting crashed. So,
crashing sucks.
Thank you for doing this, guys.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Speak up. Come on. Don't be shy.
Thank you for having us
There
here,
we go.
trucker.
There we go. Saw those spikes that we were getting earlier. You got to keep it up there at least. If you're going to get all mousy on me, then I'm going to yell at you. So.
Not me. I'm not. I used to be mousy, not anymore.
Good, good. Coming out of that shell. So, let's start in the beginning. Let's start with Joan. Where'd you grow up?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, what part of Pennsylvania?
Philadelphia originally.
Right on.
Lived there for majority of my life, and then I actually lived here in El Cajon for a couple of years.
Yes, we've
San
spoken on
Diego,
that. That's
yes.
right. You were out here, actually got to visit your father while you were in
I
town,
did.
right? How was that?
It was great. It was
Nice.
great seeing him. It's been a year since I've seen him, but
Nice.
he's been out here for the last 5 years now.
How did he decide to come out here? He just wanted to come back, or?
He was in the Marines many years ago.
Yeah.
I think Camp Pendleton and Paris Island, all that.
Yeah.
But I lived out here with my mom and my younger brother when I was a young teenager.
Okay.
Daddy still stayed on the East Coast, and then he moved here same year my mom passed. So he's been out here 5 years now.
Oh, okay.
And lives in Chula Vista.
Yeah, loving it up, right?
Yes.
Chula Vista is nice.
Very retired.
I think
At
the name.
88.
That's awesome. He said he was playing pool and like.
He plays pool.
Yeah,
He plays
card
cards.
games,
He
all
plays
that shit.
bunco.
Nice.
And
That's the key. You got to stay active, right?
Goes on the casino runs and everything
casino
else with
trips.
seniors. And
Seniors, yes.
We've got a fair share of those here in town. I don't know if he goes out of town, but yeah, the ones here local are pretty cool. We lose our share of money there. So.
got to help the economy.
And how about you? Where'd you grow up, sir?
Born and raised Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, how was that?
It was interesting. My father was a deputy sheriff growing up, and so you kind of have to keep your nose somewhat clean because every cop in town knows you. So if you do something stupid, well, I'm not going to write you a ticket, but I'm going to tell your dad tomorrow if you don't tell him today. So, yeah.
Rachel has a couple uncles whose father was her grandfather. Their father was El Cajon PD here, and same deal. You know, they were constantly getting in trouble, and he was constantly getting them out of trouble. Was actually the truth of the matter. So we got Virginia and Pennsylvania, not too far apart. Where did you guys actually meet?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Okay, really?
I had moved back and forth between Pennsylvania and South Carolina for a long time.
Oh, okay.
And my younger son was actually born in South Carolina.
All right.
And then after that, I moved back to Pennsylvania, raised my boys for 20 years. Younger son moved to Texas. Older son stayed with me. When I married him off in 2010, I decided to come back to South Carolina.
All right, on. Nice.
And stayed for about 2-3 years. Back to Pennsylvania for 2 years, and then found him again. And he said, "Come back to South Carolina." And then I
Found him again?
Yeah, we actually met late 2010, early 2011.
Okay.
Dated for about 6 months. He lost his head. We lost touch.
Happens.
3 years later, 3 years later, we found each other again.
Oh, wow. Well, nice.
Brought her back.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fairly stable and doing good now, yeah?
Wonderful.
Yes.
Good. So we got 2 military veterans here.
Yes.
I want to talk a little about that. You guys can take a pick who goes first, but tell us about your military experience.
Not much to tell. Started in South Carolina.
In the Army?
In the Army.
Right on.
At Fort Jackson.
What'd you do in the Army?
I was an admin assistant.
Okay, so you did Army paperwork.
Yes.
Paperwork's got to be
Pencil
done.
pusher.
It's got to be done, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the biggest part of my experience. And then I ended up in the South Carolina Guard. South Carolina Guard for a little bit.
Okay.
And then moved back to Pennsylvania, finished out in the Pennsylvania Guard, and got out in 92.
Okay.
So I spent 6 years.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. What'd you think of basic training?
I made it through it. Let's just say that it was not easy for the girls.
Yeah.
You know, they did the same thing to us, and
I know it's not the same anymore. I know it's not the same anymore.
Yeah. No, but they push us just as much as the guys.
I had a friend. She went through. She became a logistics personnel officer or whatever, and but she went through boot camp. It's got to be, I think, around 2010, 2011, so only like 6-7 years ago. And she's sending me like cell phone selfies and shit while she's out there at boot camp. They were allowed to keep their phones, and it was all co-ed. I was like, 1986. Oh my god, this is like summer camp now. Yeah, I know. Oh yeah,
I know. Cell phones in 1986.
Well, they did, but they were like the size of a suitcase.
Well, yes, yes, but
my uncle's a retired general in the Army and ran the National Guard for Southern California, and I remember he always had to have this suitcase with him everywhere, and it was a cell phone that he could talk to everybody on the planet with and shit. So, yeah, pretty crazy technology, and it actually tied right into the phone wires right above your head, like wherever you were at, and just wirelessly you could just jump in. It was, they're listening to everything. You think that Google Play's got something shit. They can listen through your phone, your electrical lines.
But 30-some years ago, it was completely different, and they treated us just like the guys. Yeah. You know, no difference.
Did you see it as a good experience, or?
I did. Yeah. I grew up really fast while I was in it. Yeah. Because I went 2 years, not 2 years out of high school, right in. You know, so
that's the way to do it when you're young and dumb. That's the best way.
It's pretty much what it was when you leave home. Yeah. Safe place.
I didn't.
Yeah, no, I was right out of high school. 2 years out of high school.
Yeah.
You know, so.
So your story, how'd you end up in the Coast Guard, right?
My dad was like, Coast Guard. My dad was go to school, go to work, go in the military. Mm-hmm. Grandfather's military, father's military, uncle's military.
Tradition.
Of course, father was a police officer. So I said 17 years old, I walked into the recruiter's office, took my oath, went to boot camp.
There you go.
The summer between junior and senior year in high school in boot camp. Went back, finished high school, went to school.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Went in under a special program that they do.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. The Coast Guard's weird. A lot of people don't know the program with the Coast Guard. You got any nuances you could share from that? I know it was a long time ago.
But. Well, Dave, his daughter just came out of Coast Guard boot camp, so it's probably a little different now than when I went through. But I looked at Cape May a lot on my face as I was trying to push it into the ocean. But hey, it was a really good experience for me. I really enjoyed what I did with the Coast Guard. I ended up, after I graduated high school, I went to an A school, and then I ended up going to a unit which was in the Outer Banks, North Carolina, the graveyard of the Atlantic.
Nice.
So SAR missions, patrols. It was neat. It was a really good experience.
What was your particular job?
I originally went in as a radarman, nice. And I ended up giving up my rate and just going into just a regular deck position with one of the cutters out on the East Coast.
Okay.
It was really nice. I enjoyed my time being out on the water. Granted, some seasickness, but you get used to it when you're playing on the water.
Yeah.
Did a lot of fishing from the boat, actually.
Yeah.
Get underway, go get bait, get on offshore.
Hey, you got to do something while you're out there, right?
Because there's not a lot to do 80 miles out, and you decide to go, hey, let's go swimming.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. And you're still in South Carolina. You guys do a lot of adventuring there. You just did the Dragon's Tail run. How was that? Or the Tail of the Dragon, however you want to call it.
That ride was so fun. We had such a good time.
Yeah, I don't think we've had anybody talk about that on the Sessions podcast here. So yeah, fill us in. Let them know the particulars. How'd that go down?
Larry posted up a picture from when he had done the Dragon Run a few years ago, and he goes, "Man, I need to do this again sometime." And I said, "We can make this happen. Let's do it." So Larry and I back and forth, and put it together, and we put it up on the page. Hey, anybody wants to do this? Come on. So we had Pirates from North Carolina, we had Wisconsin, Chicago, Georgia, South Carolina, all into Bryson City, North Carolina.
Ended up with like 13, right?
13 total. Had a beautiful house, had a view of the sunrise off the front porch and a view of the sunset off the back porch. You can't get much better than that.
And, well, like, I'm trying to compare it, say, to Sturgis, where Sturgis we have like hundreds of miles of rides out, that way. Is it the same at the Dragon's Tail, or is it just the 180-mile loop? Or
there's multiple rides. You do the Dragon Tail itself, which is the 318 curves in 11 miles.
Okay.
You do that. Then there's several other rides in the area. There's the Moonshiner 127, and then there's the Chiowa Skyway ride. If you ride all of those after you've done you kind of pray for a piece of straight pavement.
Oh yeah. You get pumped. People don't realize you know. So for the motorcycle guys out there, or guys and girls, you ride a sport bike, and those bikes tend to lean themselves and bring themselves in and out of turns very comfortably and very automatically, and it's it's just kind of a body weight thing. And with the cruisers, there's a lot more. You got to actually use a lot more muscle to push them through in and out of corners. They're a lot heavier. They're a lot more top heavy. They're not made for that. Even at slower speeds, you definitely start to feel it in your shoulders and in your back, and
he was really feeling it.
yeah, you don't realize.
Even after the first night we were there, he was hurting a little bit. Yeah.
We did the camping the first night going up there before we got into.
Yeah, he strung up the hammocks. Yeah,
hammocks in the trees.
That was a great picture. That was super cool. How was that sleeping in that?
Cold.
It got chilly. I won't lie. I was sleeping in my leather.
Yeah.
Girls, bulk up. That's all I have to say. Bring an extra blanket.
Bring those layers, right?
Pack what you can on the bike. No, because we didn't tow. We rode.
Yeah.
Home up there. So
yeah, you did it
the whole way.
Straight up, legit. That was awesome. It looked like a really good time. Yeah, something I constantly tell people is you got to learn to layer. If you're going to ride a motorcycle, you need to learn to layer, because if you just wear one heavy jacket, well, you get hot, you take that off, well, now you got as your t-shirt or one shirt on, you get cold and you're going to go back and forth, like perfect example right now, I'm wearing a flannel with a t-shirt.
Well, it wasn't so much the ride, it was in the hammock, it was the
just
nighttime.
Sitting still at night.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that cold all around
you get cold all the way around you. You didn't really have, we tried with one of those emergency blankets, and no, don't do it.
Yeah, just the shivers.
No. I just put my leathers on and crawled and threw my blanket on her and crawled in the hammock with the leathers on. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I think when we got to the house finally on Friday morning, I took my boots off, and I'm like, this is the first time I've had my boots off in 24 hours.
Feels good, right?
Oh yeah.
Dogs are barking.
I even left mine on because it was just too cold.
So you've been out here this week for the Dead Legends event. Your first time reffing a major event like this, big event like this?
My first time reffing. DJ gave me the chance to come on out and ref and see the other side of it. I hung out with the refs at the Endless Legends event after the event.
That was in Pennsylvania,
house.
Right?
Yeah, hung out with them and all, and I was like, I want to do this. It'll be a good time. So DJ's like, come on.
Nice.
So I came on out to based ref.
He offered me base ref.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of the experience?
It was fun. I had a good time.
It was all right.
It's an interesting conversation through a headpiece.
Yeah, right.
That was the best part.
Some people are
hearing the conversation,
the radio chatter,
radio chatter between the refs and all,
from a bunch of cynical, bitter referees.
Yeah, that was nice. I walked around with a walking stick. That was nice. I didn't have to club any players to the ground or anything.
Yeah.
So,
It was like having a family of kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My kids are grown and out the house.
Yeah.
Now I stay with them over the weekend.
Well, it's just like what just like what the MDP is. Just a big,
oh yeah. Still,
bunch of retards.
It's still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. You get to do anything else while you're here in San Diego?
We got in on Thursday. No, we got in on Wednesday, and we went out to Midway. Did the Midway tour with DJ and Nick.
Right on.
And had a good time.
That's
with
pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it was cool. And got our picture with the helm on the helm in the.
Oh yeah, I saw that on the boat.
That
right.
was great.
Yeah.
That was fun, and just hanging out, finding some. One of the rules is when you're traveling, never eat anywhere you can eat at home. So finding food out here is just killer. Great food, great Mexican. I don't think we've had bad meals since we've been here.
No.
How about that Indian food? Not bad, huh?
Indian food, yeah.
We did that twice. The first night they got here, and then last night. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that
pretty
was worth
good.
it.
Right. So anybody, when you come into town, I'll take you to the best Indian joint around. It's pretty legit.
Definitely eat there.
Yeah, but don't go higher than a 3 on the spice.
3 is going to be a rough morning.
It'll burn you down. It'll burn you down quick. A 3 there is like a 7 anywhere else. So, or maybe an 8. I don't know. Yeah. So is there anything else on your hit list? Somewhere you want to go? Something you want to do?
Well, we got to the beach yesterday morning, which was really nice.
Nice.
And it's funny, the whole time that I lived here when I was a kid, I never got to the beach.
Wow.
Yeah, so going to Mission Beach was an experience, and it was like, yeah, I could live here.
We got nice beaches. They do get very crowded during the weekends, and it's not like, I don't know, Florida, when I go down there, the beaches, they do get crowded, but maybe it's just because they have so much, like a giant beach all the way around that fucking thing, whereas there's a lot more beachfront property or beaches to use and go to. Whereas our beaches are kind of segmented. There's a lot of houses right on the beach. There's a lot of rocks. So where there is sand, the people just pile up like crazy, you know. And then the parking's nutty and everything like that. It doesn't seem to be as bad in Florida. So I will give them the nod as far as, you know, warmer water and all that. But our waves are better.
Took me 48 years to get my feet in the Pacific, and now I'm looking at it going, oh, Pacific, why do you call a pirate?
Yeah. Hey, man. I've told you, we just had this discussion. You know, I tried living in Utah and Texas and Arizona, and I always come back home. Here I am back in the whale's vagina.
Well, I haven't been here. It's been 20 years since I've been here.
Yeah.
I came out with my son 20 years ago, you know, for Thanksgiving over in Chula Vista. And he and I traveled back and forth between Anaheim and San Diego a couple times.
Did you guys do the Disneyland thing while you were up there and all that?
No, we actually did SeaWorld, Knott's Berry Farm, and the Wild Animal Park.
Oh, right on. Nice.
So, yeah, it was great. It was just the two of us.
Yeah, that's awesome. You got to get those experiences in when you can. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's one thing MDP will do. You'll get some experiences.
Yeah, that's the idea, right?
See something new. Go somewhere you haven't been before.
Yeah. Now we're talking about this Wasteland weekend next year in September, and then DJ drops the bomb today or yesterday on going to Hawaii. So
Hawaii.
Right.
I want to go to Hawaii, but
Can't do them all.
there's only
Eventually
so
just gotta
many
say,
we can do.
can't
in
do
a
it all.
year.
There's only so many
No matter,
days in a year and only so many dollars in the bank account. Yeah.
no
So
matter how
true.
hard you try.
That is
Yeah.
so true.
Well, that's exactly what I'm looking at this year. You know, I mean, I've been going to the same events like over and over for the last 10, 15 years. I'm like, I'm going to have to change this up if I want to get out to these other spots, you know, so.
I think the Wasteland could be a real good one.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to make that this year, and then I'd just come back from Sturgis, and then had something almost immediately after that. I'm like, I can't do it. We had our anniversary directly after it. So I was like, I'm wore out. I can't do it. And so I took the weekend off. I said, and you got to do it every once in a while. You got to recharge the batteries, you know, especially, you know.
Yeah, I think we're due for that.
Yeah, and
Recharge.
I'm at an advantage being here because I recharge here pretty easy, you know. But you know, once I get out, the battery goes down really quick now.
Yeah.
But what's for sure on the list next year? What do you got to do?
Dreaded first.
Yeah.
Dreaded.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ref Dreaded
Absolutely
this year.
dread.
Okay, that's Florida in
Yeah.
February, beginning of February.
Definitely Bones and Ashes.
Bones and Ashes.
Can't do that. That's 3 hours from the house. Can't miss that one.
Yeah. Way DJ's talking up Nate's field. Nate Granger's one of our Granger. That's his last name, right?
Yes.
Something like
Yeah.
Ganger.
Granger. Oh, I can't pronounce my own name, so
Anyway.
Nate. Anyways,
Great field.
awesome field, huh?
Yes.
Great
Yeah.
Tell me
field.
about it. What do you think?
He's
Nate's put some time on that
Awesome.
field. It's
Yeah.
his hospitality for us. Like, we'll take weekends and go up there and take the camper, and he'll throw a sketchy report out for us. We'll camp at the field all weekend, and
Nice.
hang out.
and he's got a bunkhouse inside the building where his refs stay.
Oh, okay.
So there's showers and everything, and
Nice.
So we
he
can
gives us access.
snag a hot shower after running around the field all day.
That's always good.
But his
Right?
field is he's put some good time in it, and he does. If he's not got paintball or airsoft running on it, he's got steel targets set up, so he'll run some real steel,
Oh, really?
walk through real steel shoot. And all.
Wow.
He's
I
got
didn't even know.
range on it. It's real steel range built and everything.
Really?
So, oh yeah,
That's awesome. I had no idea. Yeah, now I definitely got to find my way out there.
yeah. It's a good field. If you've never played it, it's one of those fields. You got to see that field to really be like, wow.
Yeah, the way DJ was talking it up sounded like it was really good. So
Hopefully, with that event, we'll have some tanks on the field, so we can get some guys bring their tanks in. So, some Legends event with some tanks.
you never know with these goofy scenarios, man. What the fuck's gonna show up? You got people who show up in mech suits and all kinds of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle outfits.
Deadpool from the
Deadpool.
weekend.
Deadpool. We had Deadpool this weekend. This is true.
So we got Bones and Ashes. We're gonna do Dread, Bones and Ashes. We're definitely gonna do Endless. Definitely do Legends this year. So those are definitely in the
Yeah,
list.
your schedule's already filling up pretty
to
good,
run.
huh?
So now we're like looking, going, well, I don't know about Maui, but maybe we can come on back out to California and do Wastelands. with you
Wasteland
guys.
weekend,
So,
yeah, and non-paintball, and should be fun. I was actually thinking maybe we should talk to him about actually setting up something paintball out there. You know, those people, it fits right there. I don't know how much you've looked into it, but they do like Thunderdome where people are fighting with pugil sticks and on rubber bands and shit. I'm like, maybe we should set up a paintball field out there. Maybe we should see if we can make that work and
Yeah,
actually
that'd be
introduce
cool.
those people to that. And
Yeah.
And how good would the video be? These people all dressed up like Mad Max playing paintball, right?
Oh,
I mean,
that would be a blast.
and it's out in the middle of nowhere, so there should be no problem just piling a bunch of junk up for bunkers and shit.
Yeah.
So I think it might be
Considering a lot of people dress up for paintball games,
yeah, I think
it
it's a
wouldn't
good
make
fit,
it any different.
right?
No.
It's a good fit. Just get a bunch of rentals from one of the local fields. I think Velocity would be more than willing to loan off some of their stuff for a minute to put on a good weekend, good show, and really, present the sport to some people. I think
maybe
it'd be fun.
introduce more.
Yeah, that's the idea. You already know they're crazy fucks, so it should be a good fit, right?
I figure we're gonna start getting together, start planning up the Dragon Run for next year too. So that'll be on the list of stuff to come up with.
And when are you thinking you're going to do that? Is it going to be around the same time, or?
Well, beginning of October, it drops pretty chilly if you want to camp, and it's like here, once that sun goes down at night, it gonna drop off chilly quick. So maybe we'll start trying to look into maybe into August or something like that.
Okay.
September's going to be full with Maui.
Yeah.
Right.
Wastelands.
Dan and
September.
Candy want to come down for it next time also.
Okay.
And this last time they
had
had
Pirates Plunder, so they couldn't make it.
Plunder, yeah.
Yeah, I want to try and make it as well if I can fit it. So yeah.
Airport's close to me, and airport's close to Larry, so we can get you there somehow.
Yeah, just got to figure out a rental or a loaner or something as far as wheels, and yeah, I'm down. Me, I love to ride. We would have rode today, except for my second motorcycle was broken. I think I might have already mentioned that. But I knew it was broken and forgot to fix it. I've had too much going on. I'm sorry about that.
It's not like you haven't had some company over the course of this week.
Yeah, we stay busy. We stay busy.
I just realized he's wearing a Roman shirt.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, right. I was ready.
It does our heart good to see that shirt on bodies when
Yeah.
pictures pop up and see that
all over
shirt
the country, right?
Yeah.
The guys over in Lexi's got one from over in Finn, so seeing that shirt run does us.
That's awesome.
Makes us smile.
Yeah, for people who don't know, we have organized crews in the organized side of the modern day Pirates. These folks run one of the organized crews. They run Crew 8 out of South Carolina, and they've got a good group of people there, and they obviously, as we've been talking, do a lot of shit.
How often do you see our pictures pop up? We're at this brewery, or we're at this distillery, or we're going to go here and ride on this or that or the other.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that this year coming up, we do more crew events that we really want to do.
Keep building the structure and the organized side of it. And it's tough. Believe me, I know. I mean, we're doing the same thing here. I think we've got 30 crew members somewhere in and abouts here in San Diego, and I don't think they've all been in the same place one fucking time.
It's not easy.
It's tough.
We got to get everybody's schedule coordinated, and then we have a lot of our members are younger, and they have young kids and stuff like that.
So real life always gets in the way, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, gets in the way of our fun.
Kind of want to do something, get everybody in, bring the other half, bring the kids. For us, because our kids are grown, a lot of our crew members are close to our children's ages. So, so for us, it's like we have a whole other group of kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
So,
I've always played the big brother role with everybody that I've always been around, and I've always been cool with that. But now it's starting to lean towards the uncle and the dad.
I'm the mom.
That's mama.
Right?
That's mama.
Other than Bambi, I think I'm the oldest in the crew.
Well, you talking about the number 8 and crew 8? Yeah, right on. Yeah, well, it's gonna happen. Our oldest crew member, I think, is still Rick Harris. He's still alive, so chef. He's in his 70s and still going strong.
So is John. Wasn't John White almost?
He's 63.
63.
Yeah. So he's.
I'm not that far off. I mean, I'm still. I've got a few years still, but
you got some time. Don't be in a hurry to win that race.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not. I already have grandchildren, so.
Yeah, right.
I've got like 3 of them.
Nice.
Well, 4.
Excuse me. Oh.
Bless you. Yeah, we have 4 little boys
I
all
lost some
together.
brains on that one.
Yeah, we got the 4 little grand boys, so we're waiting for the days when they get ready to start picking up paintball guns. And of course, I had mine run around.
Raising pirates already, right?
Yeah, trying to.
Yeah.
Had my little grandson last Christmas run around with my launcher I had at the time. He was loving the big marshmallows.
Yeah, that's awesome. And actually, let's go back to the Carolina crew, rum runners. Let's talk about how you guys got that name. Jody makes a bunch of rum.
Yeah, I dabble a little bit in the distilling arts.
Yeah. Why don't you share that process? What's that like? Besides time consuming, let's go into detail and show exactly what you got to do to end up with some moonshine or some rum.
You figure out what you want to run, is what kind of ingredients you want. I mean, the internet's a host of research.
Yeah,
Lots and
information.
lots of research, lots of reading. If you can be lucky enough to know someone who does it, either on the side or as a living, like I do, you have somebody that can kind of walk you through a little bit and give you a little bit of, this is how this works, this is how that works.
It's always good to have a mentor. That's for sure.
Exactly,
Oh,
and
yes.
I do have one.
Our friend has been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple that spent a couple years, actually went to their second anniversary at the distillery.
Yes.
That
Friends of
owns
ours.
a legal distillery.
Oh, legal.
We met them completely, just wandered in one day and said hi, and
Hit it off.
We walk in now, and they just, here, try this. This is the new stuff. Try this.
That's
And we
awesome.
Sit there,
Yeah,
and
it's
chat,
great.
share
All right.
a cigar with them, and enjoy it. It's a very interesting hobby.
Yeah, take us through the process, start to finish.
You figure out what you want to use for your ingredients. Rum, of course. You find your sugar. Use good cane sugar. Use molasses. Find your yeast that doesn't go too crazy. You can usually have your wash done, ready to go to a still within.
So what's a wash?
That's in the moonshine world, it's a mash.
Okay.
Because there's really no solids in a rum wash, because you're using sugars and molasses, so it all kind of dissolves.
Okay.
They call it a wash.
Hmm.
7-10 days, depending on how fast your yeast wants to work.
And this is just a bucket that sits fermenting.
Set it in a bucket, and put
And
it
that's
all in a
got the
bucket.
water in it, because I know you mentioned last night the water is really
water
important.
is
right?
water's key. If you can't get spring water or good well water, you have to find something somewhere. If you're on city water with fluoride and chemicals and all in it, it will crush.
It'll run it, yeah.
Yes.
And do you look at the pH of the water? Is that something that would matter? Or?
Yeah, that helps.
Okay.
There's stuff you can add, to kind of keep your pH in balance and all.
Mhm.
If you're on a good well where you don't have additives and stuff, or you can have access to a good natural spring,
Mhm.
then your pH is going to be really, really easy to work with.
Yeah, San Diego up in Carlsbad, there's a natural spring. Carlsbad, I think it's an artesian. I don't remember for sure, but the pH comes out at like 8.2 or 8.5 or something like that. It's super, super positive, which apparently is incredibly healthy for you. But I don't know if that helps with making moonshine.
Well,
It
right
does.
now we use well water where we live,
Okay.
but we do have a natural spring that's 45 minutes away that we're going to start using.
Yeah, that's the same deal. That's why I don't get up there to that water very often, because it's 45 minutes away. But
Well, like Jack Daniels, they bought all the property behind the distillery from the limestone springs, so they can control what goes into the ground to keep the water right.
there you go.
So if you,
And
that's what you need.
that stuff still tastes like shit. Jesus. I've never been a whiskey guy, as you know. Like, I don't drink at all anymore. But fuck, I mean, I drank way too much rum. That was the problem. But
Well, if you find a good one you like.
yeah. But the Jack Daniels, I could not do. Not particularly a fit for me. Never been a whiskey guy. Like Dana and Candy with that Jameson. Oh God.
I'm not really a whiskey person either, but when it comes to Canadian maple whiskey, I'll make an exception.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That stuff. Yeah, I poured that shit right on my pancakes. That doesn't count. That doesn't taste anything like whiskey at all. That doesn't count. That same Fireball's supposed to be whiskey, right?
Yes.
That shit tastes like
Mouthwash.
yeah, like Act. You remember that shit from when we were kids?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it tastes just like that.
Hence is the reason why there's usually a bottle running around in the mornings at an event.
Yeah,
It's
right.
Mouthwash.
Yep.
Antiseptic.
All right, so we got the wash. Let's see, we're on wash, so let's get back to that. We're going ADD on this fucking thing, but so now you've got your fermented wash, 7 to 10 days. What do you do with that shit?
Let it settle out. Yeast will usually settle to the bottom. You can usually draw it off with a pump, or if you're easy with your pour, so you don't get yeast into the still, because it'll burn. It'll make it funky tasting.
Okay.
Put your still up. Just use a simple pot still with a column and hook your cooling lines to it. Put the fire and let it ride.
So what's a pot still? What's a column?
Usually a pot still is your boiler, what you're going to put everything in to boil it in. Your column is what comes up off the top of it, and then it goes into a condenser. Some people call it a worm, where you have the coil.
Like a coil?
I don't use a coil. I don't have room for it, so I use a condenser that has a cooling water jacket. So the vapor goes down through the center. There's a water jacket around it to condense it, and just watch the drip.
And then you watch the drip, and then based off of the temperature, you know what kind of alcohol you're getting, or
Exactly. In the beginning, when the lower temperatures, when it first starts to cook off, you get what you get your four shots, and that's the stuff that you give somebody that you don't like because it's like it's great for parts cleaner. You know, you want to clean sticker residue off of stuff. It's great for that.
Okay.
You know, if you want to strip paint, there you go.
So it's the industrial use type stuff.
It's the stuff you just don't.
Don't drink it, you'll go blind.
Exactly.
Fire starter.
Yeah, use it. Start your charcoal. It makes your charcoal smell good when it first starts up.
All right.
Then you start getting into your fours and all, and it's starting to clean up. When you get into your hearts, that's the really good stuff, the sweet spot of the run.
Okay.
And as the temperature increases, you get to different points in the distilling process.
Okay, and what are the temperatures? What are the key points there that you're looking for?
I know it just by looking and what it smells like when it comes down.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So it's
you can usually smell when
it's a very visceral thing. Huh? You got to be there, see it, touch it, smell it, type thing.
You watch it, and then as you go through your run, you proof it, see what you're sitting at.
And how long is the process? Say once you start, okay, so you got, like you said, 7 to 10 days in the mash, and then once you're going to go into the distill, how long does it take to distill the stuff?
Depending on how you're running it, usually a lot of people run what they call low and slow, just a few drips a second. Mm-hmm. And you could get to do a good run. If you're going to run 20 gallons of wash through, you're going to be sitting on still for a minimum 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
You can break it up and run a little bit and then stop and run a little bit the next day.
It's probably a bad idea to heat it up and cool it back down.
Actually, sometimes it's not. I've heated it up and cooled it down and had it come off with a higher proof.
Okay, well, there you go. See, and it's all these little nuances, these little tricks.
Just learn little things. And then there's other ways to run it. Some guys run what they call a stripping run, where they crank up the heat, run it hard and fast, and, push it into the low proof and then push everything back into the still, level it off at one proof, and then run it again, which is going to push the proof higher when it first runs out. So
proof being a higher alcohol content.
Exactly.
And out of, would you say 20 gallons of wash or mash, what does that produce as far as alcohol?
I usually will run about a 13 gallon at a time through mine, and it sets you in about, you can come off with a good 2-3 gallons of good quality, 100 proof or better.
Okay, so 20%.
Usually about,
you can pull.
You can usually
15,
pull
20%.
about sometimes a third. If you run it in a little deeper, like I say, I'll usually stop at around 100. But if you can run it deeper and get about a third,
really,
third,
okay.
25%, something like that.
And then, so is this stuff that's coming out? Is this just your clear like grain alcohol?
When it comes out, it doesn't matter what color it was going in. When it comes out, it's gonna be clear.
Okay, and then from there, you flavor it after that.
Yeah, you can put it. If you put it in a barrel, it's gonna age, so it's gonna pick flavor up and color from the barrel. That's where colors in whiskeys come from. It comes from the barrel.
Oh, really? Okay.
Then you can flavor it in some flavoring, like doing a spiced rum. Mm-hmm. Molasses is gonna add color to it. Any of the other flavors, any of the other spices that go in are all going to add flavor and color.
Okay.
So,
and is there any flavor that he's made so far that you've been particularly fond of?
Lemonade.
The lemonade.
Yes, he just uses moonshine for that one.
Okay.
Just a straight moonshine. Nothing added to it.
Moonshine and Crystal Light?
No. Moonshine and true lemonade. Lemon juice, lemons, and
fresh squeeze, huh?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's like a Southern limoncello.
Okay, yeah, I heard you saying that last night, right?
Yeah,
okay.
it's great. Everybody has, other than his first run of his rum earlier this year, the lemonade has been a hit.
And of course, DJ, he's very fond of his rum runner's coconut.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
Yes, he's made coconut.
Yeah.
We made Jolly Rancher stuff too.
How'd you get the coconut flavor in there? Is that actual coconut or
shredded coconut? Just put it in the jar, pour it in it, and let it sit.
So all your flavoring is always going to be natural ingredients.
It's the best way. You're basically doing an infusion.
Okay. Yeah. Like I do with my pills.
Yeah.
But he's actually taken, for some moonshines, he's actually done apples, and he's used bananas.
Okay. Yeah.
As a base.
The banana shine.
For the mash.
Yeah, I think I tried that.
Bananas for a mash. He
really?
uses apples for a mash.
You can use it in the beginning then, huh?
Yeah.
Really? Use fruit and all. Then you're working, if you use like total fruit, you're working more towards distilling a brandy.
Okay.
Apple brandy, peach brandy, all of that's done using fruit.
Yeah, I don't think people realize and it didn't occur to me that a great deal of anytime you're talking about hard alcohol or liquor, it's all pretty much made the same way.
Yeah.
And then it's just the flavoring process is what you end up with. That's why this one's a brandy, this one's a rum, this one's a gin, right? They're all essentially made the same way, but just different
I think
ingredients.
they use pine salt when they make gin.
We had that discussion last night as well. Yeah, I thought I was cool and would drink gin and juice and like martinis and shit. And finally, was like, you know what? This tastes like shit. I ain't drinking this anymore.
Why am I chewing on pine bark?
Yeah, I mean, to each your own. It's
some people love
subjective.
it. Like you don't do whiskeys, and I have not become a Scotch man. And just something about it.
Yeah, and the only time I've ever had a whiskey that I liked, and it might have been Scotch. I know it was a Johnny Walker like Green Label or something like that. That was really, really good. Mike Cassio, one of our order members, he had a bottle of it, and he's like, "You better like this because it's like $30 a shot." I'm like, "Holy balls, man!" But when you hear the time that's invested in the stuff, you could even for a giant company. I mean, that shit's got to sit there and age for. I guess that shit was like 16 years old or 20 years old or something.
I've got a bottle of Crown Royal that I've had for 5-6 years, and it was $100 a bottle then. They don't make it anymore, so I try to keep that around for special occasions.
Yeah.
And then I have my special bottle that was given to me by our friends that own the distillery. I'm the only person that got a bottle of cask strength from his last run of rum. Nobody else outside of that distillery has one but me.
Nice. That's cool.
Because he and I would chat, and I was like, I love rums, but I've got to where I like overproofed rums. Navy strength, which is 113 proof. Yeah. And they just tend to have a little more flavor than 80 proof. So he put one bottle aside straight when he bottled up his last round. One bottle went for me, and it had my name on it. And batch 1, bottle 1, 120 proof.
Well, this is funny. My uncle a year ago gave me a bottle of. I didn't know what it was. He's like, "Oh, you'll love it. Just drink it." I'm like, "Well, what's in it?" He's like, "Drink it." And that immediately turned me off of it. And I was like, even though there was a cinnamon stick in there, I didn't try it at all. And then they came into town. I'm like, "Here, try this." It turns out there was nothing in it. It was just cider, apple cider or something, spiced apple cider, right? Like, oh, shit. So I guess I'll drink it.
No alcohol whatsoever.
Yeah, they were disappointed.
I got excited for a minute there.
Yeah, right. Well, when I very first saw it, I thought it was going to be like apple pie moonshine, which is my favorite, and I'm like, smelling it, I'm like, this doesn't smell like apple pie moonshine. Severely disappointed.
We can add some moonshine to it.
Yeah.
We've made apple pie moonshine, and it's very strong.
Yeah, it's my favorite. I've made it a few times. I didn't make my own grain alcohol, but then, I mixed everything. I bought the grain alcohol straight. You could buy it here at like Bevmo, gallon jugs, and ready to rock, Yeah. I mean, it's not cheap. I think a gallon jug was like $54 or something like that. And it was no brand, just, it was just straight alcohol, no flavor.
Well, we have a moonshine distillery at home also. Okay. That's not far. And
they do a lot of flavor.
When we did the first Defenders run, that ride, and we made a pit stop. Because we were a mile down the road.
Yeah, tell that story. That's pretty cool. And explain who the Defenders are for everybody.
The Defenders are our law enforcement MC friends and all that we run with out of South Florida and in South Carolina. We have a couple chapters.
They're all along the East Coast.
We love those guys. Some of the South Florida guys came up. They were doing a Fallen Officers poker run. Mm-hmm. And actually, believe it or not, the number 8 chapter of the Defenders in South Carolina. So nice. we kind of balance each other with that. Yeah. So we're gonna, we know the run, we know the area. So they're like, all right, you lead. So it was cool. I got to lead the ride for our group with their national road major on my right. Mm. We made the run. So we were at stop number 2. We pulled our cards and everybody had a little shot or whatever. One of the guys said he saw moonshine at the grocery store, and we were like, no.
I was like, no, don't do the grocery store moonshine.
Oh, it's like that smoky stuff that's sitting there.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were like, we know where we're at. Hollow Creek is right down the street. Yeah, it's a moonshine distillery, and they do tastings. Let's go. So
and up the road we go. They don't sell in the mason jars. They have their own little jug handles.
Their little bottles and all, and the guys went in, started tasting. I think the salted caramel was the flavor that everybody liked.
That was the big
so guys left out of there with a bunch of. We walked in, and the people that owned it looked at us because they've seen us in there before, and we looked at us like, "Hey, we're back to see you. We brought friends."
Everybody that rolled up in there was in leather
and cuts. And people that were in there were all like, and I'm looking at them laughing, going, "You don't realize that 90% of these guys are cops,
right?" Yeah, I know. Well, half the time they're rougher than the Outlaws, man. I got a bunch of buddies that, the choir boys and the Blue Knights and all that shit. I'm like, they take a little bit of liberties because of their badges sometimes,
We got through there.
They all rolled out of there with 1 to 3 bottles each.
Yeah, it's sold, emptied the place out. That's cool.
Like, but they can only sell so many during the day.
Yeah, the state law says you can
so
only
many
buy
to
X
each
amount.
customer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we got out of there, running behind, head to the next stop. I think by the time we got to stop number 4, they're looking at us going, "We heard what you did. Hey, we're pirates. We took the guys to do pirate shit."
Yeah, that's the deal, right? As Porno has properly coined the phrase, "Are you pirating today?" Right?
We
So
try to
good.
pirate every day.
Right?
Yes.
So good. Let's get on that. What do you think of this whole MDP thing?
I needed something in my life. I've been involved in cars, and I was a member of a car club for years and stuff. And motorcycles, cars, anything, boats, anything we could do something on, have a good time. And I met Ryan Callahan. And I had an MDP sticker I'd gotten from somebody over the course of my travels, and I'm relatively new to the paintball world. About 6 years doing paintball.
Okay.
And I said something about it, and Ryan kicked me on up the road, and at Dread Legends 1, I sent my application up and took the order Dread Legends 1. And
Yeah.
y'all made me feel so welcome, and it's wonderful being around everybody. I think I'd never met you before in my life. I think we talked back and forth with Messenger, and I walked into that truck that day, and you handed me my MDP jersey and said, "Welcome, brother," shook my hand and hugged me.
Yeah.
I was like, I have found home.
I love it.
Brought her along with me for the ride.
Yeah. What do you think of all this goofy shit, pirate shit?
I love it.
Yeah.
I've never done anything. I mean, until I met him and started doing all this the last 3 years, I was a homebody.
Yeah.
Now I am up and out everywhere with him.
Her sons laugh at us. We live in a motorhome, and her sons laugh at us. You two are a bunch of you two are hippies.
Hey.
Hippies and gypsies, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's great. And I tell my kids about it and say, "Mom, what happened to you? Who are you? You weren't like this before." I said, "Things change.
Yeah.
You grow up.
For the better." Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Well, all right.
we're probably regressing.
We're regressing, yes. But
Pirate.
you change. Things change. And it's like your personalities become different.
Yeah.
You experience more. You get out there.
Yeah.
And you do things. You're not just sitting at home.
Well, it's pretty. I mean, for me personally, it's pretty amazing. Just like through a motorcycle ride, how my perspective can change. I mean, just being able to be out and away and not thinking about all this and all the all the day-to-day bullshit, and to be able to, I don't know, it's almost meditative for me. The stuff we do. Even when I'm out playing paintball, and that should be a highly stressful situation. I'm sitting there. I was telling you guys, I'm from me to you probably on these guys in the bushes, and they're bad guys. I can shoot them, but I'm listening to their conversation. I'm just laying there, and it's great. I mean, it's a completely different paradigm. We should change it up.
We love getting on the motorcycle and just wind in our face.
Right. You have that
and it
stressful
calms
day,
me down.
Just get on there and go. She can have a bad day, and I'll get a text message or a phone call. I'm at work.
I need a ride.
Hey, baby, can we go for a ride today? Let's go. As soon as I hit the house, we'll saddle up and take off.
That's awesome.
Just. I don't think you can find another way to get your head clear in your face. And
then through our vetting system, getting to make friends with people all around the world that you can trust, and like you got John Dunbar in Scotland.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we now got Benini, who's splitting his time between San Diego and Taiwan, and we got the crazy fucking Australians down there, Murray and Flash, and We got quite the crew going, and it's only going to get better.
Cup was awesome. Meeting Troy and all from South Africa. It was fun meeting him. There was another guy there from running around from South Africa too, and just hanging out. We had a friend of ours that lives in Gainesville that came down just hang out with us for the day, and I was looking at her and laughing. The other kid that was there from South Africa, we were drinking lemonade out of the jar, and I looked at our friend, and laughed, said, "So where else are you going to come and hang out with somebody from South Africa and drink something out of a jar?" Yeah, right. And she's just like, I have no clue.
Yeah, well, that limoncello or whatever the hell you call it was definitely a hit. I know Nicola enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
Her pictures started to get a little fuzzy, but yeah.
I think she had a jar at Cup, and then she had a jar at Salty Gap.
Well, yeah, it was hilarious because it was like I bring her over to you guys. I'm like, "Hey, can you give her, just give her a shot?" And you hand her the whole jar, and she's like, "Cool, peace." Runs off with it, and I don't blame her. When you guys, the opportunity arises to get some good homemade shit, you got to jump on that.
Oh yeah,
for sure. So with everything going on with the MDP, you got any critiques or ideas or direction? What do you think?
Direction.
What do we need to do?
Do we have direction?
Hey, you're fucking helm. I'm supposed to be able to ask you these questions, dickhead.
Right now, it's grown. I mean, and don't go so much for the quantity. We need the quality.
Oh, 100%.
The person that's strong in what they believe and that has that little something else to add to what we are.
Yeah. And you don't, we're not. How do we word that? Because there's a ton of mentorship that we do amongst each other, and it's not exactly the way that people, like if someone's being an asshole, I will tell you you're being an asshole, and you should be willing to take that kind of constructive criticism. And I expect the same thing right back at me. That's how we keep this pure and roll in the right direction.
Yeah. The self-improvement stuff. I mean, what was it for Legends? We had a couple. We had one of our order members from SAC. He doesn't like airplanes, but he got on an airplane and came to Legends last year. That was his self-improvement. He's like, dude, I did it. Yeah. And he's getting ready to come on out to the number 8. He's coming to claim his rum runner standard.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're waiting for him. My daughter, Kelsey, she her boyfriend came on along, and he's a good kid. He's kind of in his shell a little bit, and she's that bright, cheery, in-your-face redhead. So
she's an animal.
She brought him along. She's like, "Can I bring him with us?" And bring him on. So we threw him in the middle, and he was right there in the middle of the fight with all of us, and just had a blast. First time he'd ever played paintball. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I saw the big shit-eating grin on his face all weekend long. Yeah, the kid had a blast. Yeah. And that's the thing is people don't. I try and preach it, but they just don't get it. That like. You don't have to be an order member. You're welcome to come hang out with us, and we're a very accepting group. And you decide to take the order. That's a personal thing, and I don't push it on anybody, and I don't hype it. I don't, it's actually more work. you're saying, hey, I want to do more work for this idea and this mentality. If you ask me about it, I'll tell you about it. I'll give you the information and do your research and make you want it for yourself. Right? If it's something you think you'd like, come on.
Even the people that we met at the Dragon Tail. Mm-hmm. We met somebody at the campground that we stayed at. Mm-hmm. He actually drove from there to Deals Gap to meet us there and waited for us.
It's like a 100-mile ride for him one way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're telling me when I'm 100 miles out of his way just so he could get the roll.
So he could ride with us.
So what do? We took him on an adventure with us. Larry and I, 2 helms there. We gave him the Vanguard Challenge coin and said, "Here's the information, dude." Yeah, I wish I had one here so we could tell people so that whether you're order member or not, if you have one of our challenge coins, so how it works is it's a little bit of a game within the order. But if you have a Vanguard Challenge coin, it works as well. You can pull it. Now the order can't pull it on you, but you can pull it on the order. You find an order member, you pull that Vanguard Challenge coin. They've got to know the MDP oath, and if they don't know the oath, then they buy you a drink. Now, if they have a coin on them, it cancels out. If they have the coin and they say the oath, well, guess what? You're buying them a drink. So I'm happy to drink other people's money.
Right. Hey, drinking for free is always the best kind of drinking. So,
oh yeah. What's your favorite kind of drink? Free, cold, and if I have to, cold and free.
I got a funny story for you. I was at Vegas. We were in Vegas for an event. I think it was a trade show or something like that, and turns out another buddy was there having his birthday party, and he's very well to do, very affluent. I don't remember the club. I think it was Pure or something in the MGM Grand. And I'm not like one of these like club guys. You know that. I'm a campfire guy.
Oh yeah.
But it was my friends. I'm like, it was his birthday party. I wanted to go see him. It was Luca, and he's from Brazil. And we get there, and he's got his own table, and he's getting bottle service, and like he's got all these bottles of Ace champagne laying around, and no one's drinking or anything. I'm in Vegas, so I'm already hammered. This was probably like 3 or 4 years ago, and so I'm like, well, fuck it. So I just pick up the bottle and chug it, drink the whole fucking bottle, and he's like, that was amazing. And then Miko looks over at me, who's another one of our order members and a Helm founder, and he's like, that's a $1,500 bottle of booze you just slammed. I'm like, oh fuck. And Luke is just like, no, I'd never seen that before in my life. That was the best shit ever, man. I'm like, all right, cool, good deal, And I mean, like when I first got there, before I even knew what he was spending on anything, I gave him a couple bucks for just. I'm like, hey, thanks for having me, and here's to help support everything. And I mean, I knew he could afford it, but it's just being stand up. I mean, if I'm gonna drink your booze, I'm gonna give you a couple bucks. But like, I gave him $100 and I drank a $1,500 bottle of booze. Like, oh my god, that shit's overpriced anyways. The fucking Asti Spumante you get for $12 is way better. So. But yeah, that was. That's the thing about being a pirate, man. You get to have some cool experiences, that's for sure.
It's all about the experience.
Yeah.
Adventure. That's what we are.
Yeah.
Great friends.
Right.
All family now.
Yeah. And it just keeps going, And we give each other a lot of room, but we also tell each other, straight up. It's the only way to be. It's the only way to be. So
if you can't be honest with somebody, just, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, I think we had a good talk. We'll do this again next time you're in town. It's like gonna be next week, 2 weeks from now, something like that. I'll have the bike fixed, okay?
Oh, we have the lottery ticket, so if we win, we
Yeah,
might
right?
just come
We gotta
back
come
and
out here and claim it.
There you go.
May have to trade a standard out.
Yeah, right. We'll have you buy the house down the street that's been for sale for a while.
Oh yeah.
We'll work that deal out. Thank you very much for doing this.
Great.
It's a pleasure talking with you.
This is gonna be the hardest event leaving of any event I've been to so far. With
Yeah,
MDP.
right.
Yeah.
It's always tough to say goodbye, man. I know.
No, it's never say goodbye.
Yeah. Till
See
the
you
next
later.
one. Yeah.
Till the next
Till the
event.
next one.
See you later.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Have a good one.
Thanks for
Bye.
putting up with us. Thank you. Let's go get some food.
Let's go get some food.
Thank you so much for checking out our pictures, video, and other content. Please show us your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing our content with your friends and family. You can also show support by visiting our website, mdpcrew.com or moderndaypirates.net. There you can pick up some official Modern Day Pirates gear. Also, if you have any interest in joining the Order of Modern Day Pirates, please drop us an email at info@mdpcrew.com. And remember, the treasure truly is in the adventure.